This episode is made possible by the generous support of my patrons at patreon.com/saygoodnightkev and by viewers like you. Thanks!
Oh, hey, guy over there, what's my subscriber count at?
It's over 9,000!
Aw, yeah. So here's something I get asked a lot.
Kevin, are you a Christian?
On the internet, not in real life. It's one of those questions that people don't necessarily ask out of the blue in real life, but they feel comfortable asking somehow whenever they're on the internet. This probably comes from the fact that I review and criticize a lot of Christian movies. And my answer is always the same. Yes, I am.
It's Christian!
Right. But some people would say that if you looked at my videos, then you wouldn't be able to tell, which is absolutely true. If the only way to tell if somebody had a certain faith was if they just came right out and said it. But if you're the type of person who thinks that, then you're probably a total idiot. My job isn't to make videos that play to the lowest common denominator, except for this episode, where I am doing that, but to make a point. See, I'm already using hyperbole to evoke an emotion and to express my art form. It just gets me excited, but we'll get into that later.
But Kevin, you shouldn't call people idiots, especially when you just said you were a Christian.
Okay, look, here's the deal. I would love if some of you watching today were to learn something from this video. But if I'm being honest, I'm not exactly making it for you. Yeah, it's true. Do you wanna know who I am making it for? This guy, right there. There he is, Mr. Know-It-All. That is 19-year-old Kevin. Look at him, all smug, think he's got the world all figured out. Ugh. Wish I could just smack him. Here's a reenactment of an actual true story that really happened to 19-year-old Kevin. Oh my gosh, are you the drummer from Reliant K?
Yeah.
You're my favorite band. That new CD changed my life. One thing though, I read through all the lyrics and you guys don't mention Jesus once. Are you guys going secular? Oh my gosh, 19-year-old Kevin, you were an idiot. What are you doing? I wish I could just So it's been about 10 years since that fateful concert where I embarrassed myself, and it is my biggest regret. But since that time, I have become what some may call a professional in media. And still being a Christian, I think I've learned a little something that I didn't understand back then. You see, there was a time when I just looked at everything as very black and white-y.
Oh, I see what's going on here. You're one of those relative morality, if it feels good, do it. If it's good for the goose, it might not be okay for the gander, but who knows?
You know, rude Kevin, I think you and 19-year-old Kevin would get along pretty well.
Hey, don't put me in a category with him. He's rude. I'm rude for Jesus.
Okay, well, I ask that both of you bear with me, and please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that I don't believe in moral absolutes. But now that I've worked in media and entertainment for a while, I realize that the content that I make and the people that I work with can often be a little more gray. Oh, no, gray. Anyway, what I've realized is that understanding those absolutes is a little more difficult, especially whenever it comes to the entertainment industry. Here's an illustration that might help you. So whenever I was younger, I saw morality as one of those things that whenever you're like at the fair and you have that hammer and you hit it and then it goes up. And so like the harder you hit it, the higher it goes. In this case, like entertainment. If mentioning your faith is good every once in a while, well then mentioning your faith all the time is best. But as I've grown older, I've realized that the moral absolutes haven't changed, but my perspective of them has. Here's another illustration that I've come up with. I call it the pendulum of morality. I don't actually call it that, I just made that up. You see, right and wrong is more like a pendulum with a perfect center. You can't be more and more right if you push it further and further and sending you deeper and deeper into a different type of immorality, which is even more dangerous because it disguises itself as morality. Kind of like if I said, I heard that water is like what keeps us alive. I'm gonna drink 5,000 gallons of it right now. You can die from too much water. My perspective on it has changed a little bit since I was 19, and I've learned to be a little more open-minded. If you're too open-minded, then your brain will fall out. Hey, whoa, don't quote your bumper stickers to me and act like that's some sort of conclusive argument. I'm not even trying to argue with you here. I'm just sharing with you something that I've learned. I'm not trying to be a nuisance. You can just take it or leave it. All right, so I started this off talking about media and how it applies to me. What I'm saying is that I've learned a little something called subtlety. Sometimes things look good or bad on the surface, but sometimes you have to look deeper. See, I wasn't kidding whenever I said that Reliant K album had a big impact on my life. I needed an album like that to speak to me during the time that that album spoke to me. So that album, at that moment, was really good for me. But I was so distracted at the time with something that I thought needed to look good. It's so important important to try to find what the heart of the message of what somebody's saying really is. Sometimes things that I say are taken wrong or not the way that I intended for them to be taken. And some of you may misunderstand what I've said even in this video. But look at my heart, not my actual heart. Am I the type of person who is consistently trying to deceive you? I hope not. And if I am, then don't listen to me, because intentions are very important. To borrow a phrase from the book of my own faith, man looks at the outside, but God looks at the heart. Yeah, well, Kevin, the road to HE double hockey sticks is paved with good intentions. Right. Let's see, YouTube comment section, or I'm gonna go with this one. Yeah. Hey, big shout out to LegacyandWealth.com and Brendan Neely. And also, you know what? A big round of applause to Matthew Bird. For the last year or so, been giving $50 a month to Say Goodnight Kevin. Matthew Bird had to cut back on that this past month. He's still pledging at patreon.com/SayGoodnightKev, just less than that, which is why in the future I won't be putting his name at the end of the shows. That's something you guys can do. There's no shame in adjusting your pledge amount. So once again, a big round of applause to Matthew Bird. He has given more than anybody else to this show, and that has certainly helped keep this show going. Thank him in the comment section below. I guess I used a lot of Reliant K examples in this episode. Hopefully they'll watch and also give to the Patreon. Good night.